Hey, look, you alive, life in your body, and I understand that you have gone through some things, but let me remind you of why you got this, fam. I think you need to know. Look, I understand that we all wrestle with all types of things. Like yesterday, I was struggling. My eye still ain't recovered. I literally had a situation with my eye. I woke up in pain and I went to bed that way. And you talking about 24 hours, fam. So I get it. We all endure things that come out of nowhere. Like they just hit us left from left field. It's like, what in the world happened? What's going on? But then you're able to tell the story. You're able to give a perspective that you didn't even know would be useful to somebody. Somebody else may have needed to know that, hey, so somebody else woke up in pain and went to bed in pain? Shoot, I guess it wasn't just me. I guess I'm not crazy. I guess it's not just, the woe is me. You never know how small something may be perceived to you, just how big and greatly it may be received from somebody else. I remember waking up on a regular basis going through things like this, constantly going through the pains of what happened in my day to day and all that stuff, and not realizing that these are just opportunities for growth. The growth and development that we get to experience are privileges because it makes us more aware of the value that's already inside of us because of the fact that you got this. You got this. The fact that you still persevere through it all. The fact that you still here. The fact that you still got life in your body and you still moving forward, even though you may not have seen what was coming your way. It came and it went, and you still here after all of it? What? Who told you were gonna struggle though? From the day you were born, you known that you are here and that's that, but you don't know what's coming your way in life. So when things come our way and we don't see it coming and we are still standing after it, that's right there why you got this. That's why you can still move forward. That's why you are a champion. That is why you are someone you are an overcomer. That's why. But if you don't know that, if you don't know, that's the problem. So let's talk about it for a second. Let's talk about why you got this. Well, we can start right here. Okay, you ready? You ready? We're gonna start right here. You have a voice that has impacted somebody's life. I would guarantee it's been more than one person. That right there gives evidence of your power. You see, the power that's inside of you, power means possession of the qualities to do something or get something done. Ooh, so that makes you powerful. hmm And not only are you powerful, but you are full of stories that your voice could tell someone that could actually solve a major issue in their life. And all they're waiting on is for you to unmute yourself. Too many people are holding their stories back. I'm not talking about your life story. I'm talking about what you experienced at some point of time in the past few days, past few hours, past few weeks. Stop hoarding your treasures. Don't you know that the treasures that you have are meant to be put to use? What's the point of having something of value if you're never going to use it, fam? That story that you got, I'm not talking about your life story. I'm talking about that situation you outlasted and overcame last week. That thing that you went through last month. That thing that you're going through today that you're going to be able to tell somebody about tomorrow. That right there is supposed to be put to use. You can't grow something if you don't ever plant it. You can't go through the processes of growth if you never go through the enduring of the process of pain. And the pain that you are experiencing or have experienced is useful and actually causes transformation. So how transformative are you willing to be? How intentional can you be? How loud can you get with your voice? I'm not talking about screaming from the top of the hills. I'm talking about intentionally speaking on what you know to be true that can add value and perspective to somebody outside of you. How much value can you actually intentionally give that is yielded from everything that you have outlasted and overcome? If you think that what you have is useful, then you should put it to use because you're fruitful. Yeah. And I don't need you to hear what I'm saying and be like, oh yeah, that's that. Nah, I need you to go take action, fam. You got to unmute yourself. If you've been gifted with a story to tell, then it is your responsibility to unmute yourself and go tell it. Stop holding the truth back. Stop holding these things back. You got to let it out. You got to let somebody know that you are still standing in spite of it all. You've overcome, you've outlasted, you've endured it all, you persevered, and you are continuing to do so because you still here. How many other ways can I say it? You still here. Even though you may have thought at one point you weren't gonna be. Even though you may thought of one point, this is the end for me. Even though you may thought of at one point, then nobody wants to know about this. Nobody needs to know. There's somebody who might need to know, and that is why it was gifted to you, because you were the perfect person for them. You were always going to go through what you went through. You were always going to overcome it, but you're the perfect person for them to see. Some people can't go through things and go tell somebody about it, and it's like, oh, everyone cares. Nah. It was you. You were built for this. You were made for this. You were the person that was actually having to go through it so that you can go and be as useful and fruitful as you are meant to be. But if you never went through what you went through, you wouldn't be able to show up the way that you are. Man, you're valuable. I know too many people that believe that they're not valuable, all because they've been lied to their whole lives. You're valuable. And if you don't know that you're valuable, I'm telling you right now. Now, how you going to tell me I'm valuable, Jared? How you going to tell me? How you don't know me? I know this about you. I know that you were born. I know that you were raised. I know that there's a story to your whole process of growth and development. I know that there are challenges that you did not want to go through, but you went through it. I know that there have been people who have let you down in life. I know that you have been told a lot of lies in your life, and it has caused a lot of questions to go unanswered. I know that you are still seeking truth and seeking answers. I know that you are still here, even though you don't know everything you want to and deserve to and desire to, but you still here. I know that much about you. I also know that you are somebody who is not going to give up. I know that you are somebody who is going to continue to persevere. You're going to continue to be diligent. You're going to continue to be useful. You're going to continue to produce fruit. You're going to continue to do these things whether you really want to or not, because that's how you were built. You were built for this. You were built for a legacy. You were built for being somebody that's actually worth reflecting on. You were built for it, but are you aware of how useful and fruitful you already are? Because if you aren't aware, that's what has to happen. I need you to become more aware of the value that's inside of you so that that story that's attached to it can go out and actually change some lives. Do you know how many lives you could change? Do you even want to change somebody's life? Is the question. And if you don't, then here's the reality. You've already been doing it. You can't get away from it. That's your identity, fam. Yep. You are somebody that changes lives, and you've been doing it since the moment someone recognized that you were in their womb. Since the moment you existed, you have been a transformer. You have been transforming people's perspectives. You have been the person to show up in other people's lives that has caused them to recognize, like, hey, good people do exist. Hey, there are people that do get it. Hey, there are people that I actually like. You are the evidence for so many things in so many people's lives, and you don't even realize it. You don't know just how many times you've caused people to change their own point of view. That's a powerful thing. That's a powerful thing to do. When you can change someone's mind just by opening up your mouth. And if you're unaware that you've already done that, let me make you aware of something. Let's say the moment you exited the womb of your mother. I don't know how good of a mother or how terrible of a mother you may have had. I don't even know if you had your mama in your life, but I do know this. Somebody heard you cry, and they were aware that there was life that was in their presence. And that life is still here because you still here. And the value that was attached to that cry came from a voice that you still have. It may not sound the same, but the essence of that voice is still here because you still here. And because you are still here, you are still causing people to recognize the value of living. But you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing through. You got to keep pushing forward because your story ain't even over yet. And there's aspects of it that you are in need of letting go of. You got to stop telling yourself certain arenas that you were in were worthless. Because if it weren't for those worthless things that you say are worthless, you wouldn't be able to be aware of your current purpose. See, if you didn't go through what you outlasted, then you wouldn't be able to stand as somebody who knows what it's like to go through this and that. That makes you the person that somebody needs in their life. That makes you the person that someone needs right now. That makes you the person that somebody needs you to unmute yourself and actually speak up, get loud, and say what it is that you need to say, because you were meant to say it. That's why it was gifted to you to say. That's why you are still here. That's why you ain't over. It's not over. And every day that you outlive a situation that you didn't see coming, that's evidence and proof of your greatness. That's God-given. That's a gift, fam. Don't you realize that the value that's attached to you is useful for somebody else to recognize they can do this too? What you have gone through, what you have gotten through is useful. Use that, own that, claim that, own your voice, own your story, own it. It's yours and no one can take it from you. Stop allowing people to take control of your narrative. Don't do that. Don't allow another person to take control of your narrative. That's your story. You got to unmute your voice, then own your voice. And once you take ownership of your voice, then you will start doing more things intentionally because it's yours. You got to start listening though. Listening to who? You got to start listening to yourself more than you listen to everybody else. Because it's you that's telling you what to do. Did you know that if you actually listen to your voice long enough, you'll actually get used to hearing you? And when you get used to hearing you, and you also are thinking in a way that is healthy and helpful, you tend to find yourself being guided and led by good ideas. And those good ideas lead to you doing things that you may at one point have thought you couldn't do. And it wasn't because, oh, I believed that such and such told me. No, it's because you believed in you. You believed that the voice that you were telling yourself that you could do something was good and valid. Some of us have a hard time hearing our own voices because of how many times we've let ourselves down or the stories that we believed about ourselves because somebody else told it to us. You don't have to do that. You have the power to speak life, not just to others, but to yourself as well. See, there's this proverb. It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, but he who loves it will eat of its fruit. Well, love what? What are you talking about? The words that come out of your mouth are not just things that are being heard. They're also things that are being felt. And if something that you are saying is causing others to feel, that means there's something that you can speak that may cause someone else to heal. And if you're able to heal someone, that makes you somebody who was worth having in someone's life. And if healing is a natural part of what you are capable of, then I honestly believe that that might be what you want to do. No one wants to go around wounded and hurt. We all want to be healed. We've all been broken. I mean, we've all experienced things that may have broken our hearts or caused us to be broken hearted. But what if you found out that everything that you went through that broke you was only to make you more aware of the pieces that were there, that once you were put back together again, could cause others to be healed too? What if you were the Humpty Dumpty in somebody else's life and you fell off the wall and you got put back together, but then that made other people realize they can be put back together too? What if you going through what you went through was evidence that somebody else needed you in their life just after you struggled? That's a hard pill to swallow. That's hard. That's hard. There are people who need you to go through your struggles before they meet you, because that's how you prepare. See, there are many of you who have purposes that are in need of being fulfilled because it's going to cause someone else to be healed. But it's not until after you go through it that you can show up in their life. You will not be allowed to meet them before you have become the person that they need to meet first. Don't you find that ironic though? Don't you find it ironic how there are so many people who you know and you have known for years and they just don't get it. They don't understand that you're not who you used to be and all of that stuff. But then the people that you meet later, those individuals, Those are the same people who don't know your story. They don't know your history, yet they're more accepting of you and your story because you're on the other side of it. They're seeing the fruit, but you have to go through what you have to go through first. It's a tough pill to swallow because what I'm essentially telling you is you are meant to struggle and you are meant to overcome those challenges. That's what makes you so powerful. The way that God designed us is to be people who persevere, people who endure, people who can continue to move forward, people who can develop that actual perseverance, that endurance, that steadfastness, that patience. And the more patient you become, the more useful you find yourself being for so many other people's lives. So would it be worth it for you to understand that the value of the test that you are going through right now is only to produce perspective for somebody else to see you appropriately? They need to see you as the champion. They need to see you go through sometimes as well. Some people won't accept you until they see you go through. And then after they've seen you go through it and they've seen you get through it, then they accept you. They acknowledge you. Well, what if all you've been doing is actually experiencing life from the perspective of being someone who is training in front of everybody else? So that when you are actually able to be put to the test on that grand test, you are able to not only succeed and win, but to champion. So when you get that medal and you put them on, people see who it is that you get to be. What if whatever it is that you have literally, hear me out. What if everything that you have struggled with is exactly why you are the perfect candidate to actually be in somebody's life right now? What if that was the pre-qualifier to be present with the people that you are pursuing and looking for? What if your struggle was what qualified you to be somebody that other people trust? What if people are tired of the fake? They tired of people acting like they got it all together. Man, I know I'm tired of it. And I just overlook it and I'm on my business, but I'm tired of people acting like they got it all together. No, you don't. Stop with the edits. Stop editing everything. But listen, you are a real person and we are real human beings. And there are people who are going through all types of things on a day-to-day basis. They don't need another edit. They don't need another false view of something. They need the real. They need that true. They need that real talk. That's why I show up and talk the way that I talk. I don't cookie cut. I don't sugarcoat. I don't do none of that weird stuff. I think that's kind of odd to me. There are people who show up and they just speak all day and they say all types of stuff and it's not really doing anything but fluffing people up. No one needs any more fluff. They need that real talk. They need to know, like, okay, you telling me I got this, but what do you mean by that, Jared? What you mean I got this? You got this because you've outlasted things that don't nobody even know about. You've overcome things that no one even knows. You did it in private. You succeeded silently. And when you went through it, you developed the perspective that it was useful later on. So when you reflect on all of these things that you didn't want to go through, you don't want to talk about, you don't tell people about, you just show up with the fruit. That's evidence that you got this. That's evidence. You don't need another fake story. You don't need somebody telling you lies. You don't need to tell yourself any more lies either. You don't need that fake fraudulent nonsense. Hey, all you got to do is this. Ain't no all you got to do. There's a lot that you have to do to become you. And that's why you are you. That's why you still here. That's why you got this. Because nobody can take your story away from you. You better open up your mouth and own your voice. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do something just because they believe what they believe about themselves. You better start believing the truth about you. You a champ. How I know you a champ? Tell me you didn't experience something last week. Tell me you didn't outlast it. And if you tell me you didn't outlast it, I say you're insane because you still here. You're still here, fam. I went through some stuff last year. I don't wish it on anybody, but guess what? I'm still here. Who cares what you've gone through until they see you get through it? They don't care. No one cares about what you've gone through until they see the results that you've been through it. And that's what gives you the power to actually change and transform lives when you open up your mouth. Yeah, I got diagnosed with MS. Yeah, they told me that. But just the previous year, before in 2023, they told me that it was ocular myasthenia gravis. Never heard of it. They misdiagnosed me. Who cares unless I share? Who cares what I've been dealing with unless I show up as the person who is dealing with it and I'm still going. I'm still moving forward. I'm still here. Well, what about you? What have you been told about your life that it's actually going to be helpful to somebody else? What is it in your life that gives people no excuses? See, if Jared shows up in your life, Jared shows up as the person that takes your excuses away. You ain't got no excuses. Well, there are aspects of you that if you show up in somebody's life, you get to take away their excuses too. Now, why are you wanting to take excuses? Because you want to free people to help them become the best version of themselves. You want to unlock people to actually see themselves for who they are. You want to see people as the valuable individual that they are because they need to see it. If people don't see themselves as valuable, do you realize they walk away from you shortchanged? All because you didn't open up your mouth and tell them. You didn't tell them your story. You didn't tell them what you were going through. You thought suffering in silence was good enough. You thought they just needed to see a smiling face. No one needs to see your smiling face if you're not really feeling that way. They need to know that there is someone in front of me who is real and they are a human being going through what they are going through. And I am not alone because I have now an opportunity to speak up and say something too. All because of you. All because of you, fam. So the moment you actually open your mouth and let somebody know what's going on, you are actually giving them permission to do the same. Now, how does it make you feel knowing that you're useful? How does it make you feel knowing that your actual story that you've experienced is useful? How does it make you feel knowing that you didn't go through what you went through in vain and it actually had some actual use to it? How does it make you feel knowing that all these people walking around acting like everything is all perfect and whatnot, they are not your people? The people that you need are people that's going to keep it real with you. You need people that's going to show you that actual real talk. Like I'm going to tell you right now, hey, we struggling, fam. We suffering and we going through all types of things. But guess what? We overcome every single day. Still here. You still here? I got to put some music on for that because I don't want, I'm tired of so many people feeling like they can't do things all because somebody is manipulating them. Stop watching the news and stop getting manipulated, by the way. But look, hey, fam, you woke up with life in your body and you still here? You woke up with the ability to go out and change your life and somebody else's, and you still here? What you gonna do with that though? What you gonna do with that fact? What are you gonna do with the reality that not only do you got this, but you been had this, you been moving forward. Ain't nobody gonna bully you and shut you down. You gonna lift up and pick people up. Why? Because that's what you do. That's how you were built. You were built for this, and you still got this. How do I know? Because you still here. I can't say it enough. I can't tell you enough. You still here. And if you know that you still here and you know that I'm not telling you any lies, take that, own that, speak it, believe it, know it, and then go show it. Can't nobody take your life. No one can take your life story nor your scenarios and situations away from you. You still here. And if that means anything to you, please accept it. Accept that not only are you still here, but you got this. Just like the title of this video says, you got this. You got this. Like you really got this. And you got all the evidence and proof based off of what happened to you and for you and through you. You are useful because your story is one of the most valuable assets that you actually own. You just got to put it to use. You got to put it to work. And the next most valuable asset that you have is your voice. I'm going to actually talk about that at another time, though. At the end of the day, the main focus of this video was to let you know that you got this and to remind you of why you got this because you still here, fam. If I could say anything, you are still here, even after they counted you out, even after you counted you out. Clearly, you were wrong. And if you let yourself down one more time, I promise you, you can pick yourself up again because you still here. One more time. Much love to y'all. Remember that you got this. Stay focused. Catch y'all later.